everybody. My name is Olive. I've made one video here before. It was a CD tour, and yeah, my videos are like really bad quality, but you're gonna have to deal with that until I can get better equipment, better cameras, because my setup right now, okay, this is different. We're gonna see if this works better. The lighting for one is really terrible, but that's because it's dark out. And I don't want to put the big light on, so I have like a lamp and these lights up here, and that's literally it. I have one of those circle lamps for lighting right here, and if I turn it off, like, look. Yeah. So I'm in my pajamas right now. Yeah, they're pretty great, but they are pajamas. And it's like 9:30 p.m. right now, and I have a cough. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that. You probably clicked on this video because of the title, and the title of this video is probably like reviewing feminist zines. I don't know. So basically, I've got this zine library in my city. Like, it's one of the libraries here has a zine archive, and they're not all from my city, but like all over the place, and it's really cool. It's a really small place, but they have so many boxes that there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them there, which is really cool. And you can check out 5 at a time and bring them home and read them all for free. And I think that's really cool and really great. I got some, and I've read 3 of them. I only got 4 zines and like a magazine. It's basically just a magazine that is there, but it is a feminist magazine. But all of the zines I got are like feminist zines. One of them was in the queer section, but it has to do with like feminism still, so I think it counts. Let me just show you all of them real quick, and then I will let you know what I think of them so far. Okay, so the first one is called Rock Out Ideas on Booking DIY Shows. You can see there's like a girl there, and then on the back it says Rock Out, what a good promoter needs, how to get people dancing, starting a women's booking collective, mixing up sounds, finding and housing bands, and so much more. And this zine is from Chicago, Illinois, and it was really great. I read this one already, but I'll tell you what I think about it in a minute. The next one is called Grit and Glitter, and this says Duet on Femme Identity by Neely, Bat Chestnut, and Hazel Pine. On the back has these people. This is March 2007, and that one is all about like the queer identity, like the femme, F-E-M-M-E. Sorry, I don't know why I'm talking about it like I don't know what that means. I know what that means, but that's what it's about. But it's like these 2 kids' perspective on what that means for them. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything else because I'm gonna tell you what I think about that one in a little bit. The next one is Feminism and Animal Rights. It's about women's issues and animal rights intersect, and how there is a lot of similarity between the 2. This one was the oldest one that I got. Let me check what date it was real quick. I can't find what the date is for this one, but I believe it was printed in the early 80s, because most of the things talked about in here are quotes from books and feminists who were active in the 70s and 80s, so yeah. And then, actually, I'm sorry, that was not the oldest one. This one is the oldest one. This one is called Quiet Rumors, and it's about anarchist feminist ideas. And here, let me just read the synopsis. Quiet Rumors brings together for the first time some of the key writings by anarcho-feminists from the early 70s, originally only available as individual pamphlets. So popular they were continually reprinted. Demand now justifies the appearance of this anthology. The various writers illustrate the clear parallels existing between feminist practice, non-hierarchical, I don't know what that says, it's all blocked out, and decentralist, in the theories of anarchism. These timeless concerns are posed against the rigid dogmas and patriarchal states of our modern world. The reissue of these essays will undoubtedly provoke thought and debate, as they have done ever since their first appearance. I'm not exactly sure when this was printed, but I think it is a little earlier than the animal rights one. And I have not read this one yet. That's the one I haven't read, so I'll just start with that. I cannot give you an honest review on this because I have not read it. Sorry, something just happened. All I can say is, I don't know, like, enough about the concept of anarchy-ness. Okay, well, okay, that's not true. I don't really personally believe in anarchy. I'm not gonna, like, get into my political stance right now or any of that, but for me it feels like kind of like, in actuality, it wouldn't really work with how far we are. I get it in concept, but not actually in practice, kind of. But I like to read about different ideas and ideologies and stuff like that. Even stuff I don't believe in or don't practice any of that. I just like to learn about stuff, and especially when it intersects with something I do believe in. Believe in, like, I don't agree with the concept. I do agree with the concept, but, like, you know, I'm not as passionate about, like, these people who wrote the stuff in here, but I do believe in, like, feminism, and I want to hear the concepts and the ideas that these feminists had and how those ideas intersect with them and their life and stuff. Sorry, I'm not great at talking. I'm better at, like, writing what I mean, but hopefully that made sense. Yeah, so there's that. I will read it, but I'm only making this video tonight instead of after I read this because I want to make it tonight. No reason. I just don't want to rush myself through these to make this review. I can tell you about the other freaking what I thought though. I'll start with the one I read first, which was the Lockout one. I really love this one. This one was so good. And also, I forgot to tell you guys what the date is. This was printed in 2002, Chicago, like I said, and I want to move to Chicago because I have family in Chicago. So I'm gonna move to Chicago once I graduate. I live in Denver right now, so yeah. Inside, lots of writing, but then a lot of images too, so like a lot of printed art, but then also pictures, people, shows. They include musicians and DJs and performers in some images, and then they give the names. For example, this DJ's name is AMPM. Also include some drawings by the people who wrote this. I just think this is such a cute zine, and basically it talks about how can you book inclusive shows, how to get venues and stuff for bands to play, how to find bands to play at your shows that you book, and like how to promote your things, and how to deal with bands who, you know, kind of suck in some ways if they end up sucking. And I'm not like planning on booking shows or anything like that. Not really my thing, but it was cool to read, and especially it talks a lot about the Chicago like punk scene, and it also talks about kind of intersecting different scenes together. So like, for example, the girl who wrote one of the passages was talking about how, hey, maybe instead of just having punk bands play, you should have like DJs, and you should have like hip-hop stuff, and you should have like, I don't know what else she said, but she said like a bunch of genres and all this crazy stuff, like electronic stuff. And yeah, she also said, you know, like if you want to be inclusive, because like at the time this was written, it was a lot harder to find even just bands that had girls in it who could play, you know. She kind of talked about how, hey, if you can't find a band that has a girl in it, then why don't you book like a juggler? Is that what it's called? You know, the people that throw stuff, or someone who dances or something, and intersect that with other bands. I think that's a cool idea. I think I've never seen that happen. I don't know, or like spoken word, stuff like that. I think that's cool. And anyway, her whole thing was they started a women's collective, booking collective, kind of like the back said, and they were trying to raise money for the women's center. Let me check. Chicago Women's Health Center, which is like an inclusive women's health center that includes like queer people, and was very open, and all women staff and stuff like that. And it's still open today, but basically they let you pay however much you would want to pay. So like anywhere in between $0 to $75 is what she said in the first few pages. I think that's really cool. You know, like to go to a health clinic and get to choose how much you pay, because you know that kind of thing can be really expensive sometimes, and they want to raise money for them so they didn't go bankrupt. So they did these shows in order to raise money, and their kind of criteria was that they wanted to show groups who were more or less not included in the punk scene so much. So like women, queer people, trans people, people of color, and I think, yeah, you get what I mean though, just like marginalized groups. They wanted to make sure to have bands that showed those people. Like, I read one part that said, how she was like, even though a lot of punk bands are singing about this stuff and how they want this to be what's going on, they don't actually show, like there's not actually people in the band who are actually showing those things they're talking about. Like they're singing about like, don't be homophobic or don't be racist, but then there's like no black people in the band, or no gay people in the band, and it's like, okay, well, let's show the people in the audience who are in, who want to see themselves up on stage. And that was kind of their goal, and booking bands that were like that. There's a recipe in here on how to make wheat paste, and what you need in order to go put posters up around your city and stuff, put flyers up around your city to promote your show. What was a fun thing to read, because that could be helpful for anything, honestly, like how to make wheat paste, and also how to, you know, what you need to go put up flyers and stuff, because like, I I might want to do that if I'm trying to spread like awareness about my club or something. It's a good scene. Talked about vegetarianism, how to be inclusive to people who are vegan or vegetarian. When you're having food at events or something like that. They showed a lot of bands that had girls in them in the pictures that I was showing you, how they have the performers or the DJs and some of the pictures on there that I'd never heard of, and I wrote down a whole list of all of those bands so that I can check them out, and that would be cool to find all those bands from that. Okay, so the bands that are included in the zine are Systematic Infection, Invincible, The Red Lights, PSALM1, Star Death, The Rotor, The Objects, The Violence, and Reaction, REACCION. I don't know. But I am so excited to look into some of them. Also, there was a Tigra, but I didn't write all the Tigra down because everyone knows the Tigra. That was my review, and I'm sorry if it was all over the place. Let's get to the next one. Grit and Glitter. I did not like this one. I'm sorry. I think it's cool that they made this. It's not stapled. I know it's kind of petty, but like, it's not stapled and it's folded all weird, where like, some of the letters are like on the other side of the page and you can't see them. Like, see, sorry. See this? That, it's like on this side too. It's too hard to read, so I just... And a lot of their paragraphs were really confusing and didn't make much sense, and were like, had a lot of typos and stuff, but like, whatever. I mean, it was cool because it was interesting to read about how someone could identify as femme in 2007, and of course people did, but it was interesting to see the perspective of like these young punks in 2007. What does femme mean to them, you know? I also found it interesting because so many modern lesbians, I'm a lesbian and I'm saying this, a lot of lesbians my age, or around my age, like Gen Z lesbians, are so annoying about labels. They are like, no, you can't be that if you're that, no, you can't be that if you're that, no, and they're always like controlling everything. It's like, oh my god, no one cared about that. Like, you're trying to preserve the old lesbian spirit and butch femme, but then you're like controlling people and who gets to identify as butch or femme. And I'm a femme lesbian, so like, I'm saying that from my perspective. Like I don't like it, like, ugh. And one thing I liked about this is the two girls who wrote this are queer. One of them, she's had boyfriends, but she's had girlfriends too, and she's still femme because that's her identity. She's in the butch femme and stuff, and she knows about it in the history, and bisexuals have always been a part of that, and only now are people starting to get weird about it. Like, I'm sorry, but bisexuals are always a part of this community. You can't erase that. You gotta learn more. Like, I don't know. But I liked reading it from someone who, I liked reading about kids who didn't care that much about that. I'll read this little excerpt part from you. As I wrote this, it became very clear to me that being femme is a big F you to my father, to my brother. By being femme, I'm getting back me girlhood. Maybe they meant my womanhood that they stole. I am saying F you for making me feel weak and like I was bad. F you. I'm gonna drink tea and cook meals. I'm gonna wear skirts every effing day, and I'm gonna love it. F you, world. I am femme. Yeah, I liked that part. It just got confusing later on, but I did really like how one of the girls was talking about how, by identifying as, you know, femme, she used to reject femininity because she didn't want to kind of be that stereotypical feminine thing, so she would dress as masculine as she could and try to look like a boy and stuff because she thought it was bad to be feminine. But when she realized she was queer and stuff like that, and started learning about how femininity can be intersected with all of these communities that are rejected from, typical society, she was starting to embrace her feminine side in a way that really resonated with her and really spoke to being queer, even if she's bisexual. Like, I really loved it. I loved it. And this was in the queer section, but I think it has to do with feminism too, because she talks about like Riot Girl in here and stuff. It's actually not that bad, but like, it wasn't my favorite because it was just kind of a mess and all over the place, but it still had some points in there, and I liked seeing a different perspective. So yeah, that's that one. This one was a little more serious, I guess, from the other two. Yes, this one's like, here is how animal cruelty and misogyny and rape are intersected. It was like a lot more intense, but it was a good read. I will say this is quite outdated. This is very outdated. A lot of interesting comparison. I'm vegetarian, but I don't necessarily agree with some of the references they made in general to women and animals, even though I agree they're both kind of part of this like patriarchal society and interconnected in that way. I think they're two very separate things that need to be discussed separately and not so interconnected, like they're the same problem. I don't think they did that fully. Like, they did talk about them in separate ways, and just recognizing the similarities, which I agree with. There were some parts where I feel like, okay, those are two very different things. Let's talk about those separately and not together, because it felt a little insensitive, I guess, to the issues. I don't know. I'm just rambling about my thoughts, so I'm sorry if they don't make sense. But another thing that felt kind of outdated to me is some of the comparisons they made to black people, and they also kept using the word blacks instead of black people. And I mean, that was like a thing back then, like a word that was commonly used, I guess. But I don't know. Just kind of, even if they weren't talking about like black people in a negative way, and we're talking in a positive, like, no, racism is bad kind of way, it just felt kind of iffy. I just don't like when I read stuff and there's like the word black, so I just think it's kind of weird, especially probably considering the women who wrote this were white women. So yeah, but yeah, I did think this was a good read. I found some interesting, it made me think. I thought that kind of how animals are seen as weaker from general society and less than humans, and then the comparison how women are seen less than the men, and both animals are dominated and hunted by men and stuff like that, while women are also basically like hunted by men. I'm having a hard time like actually explaining how I feel about this one, but I did like it. It was just kind of hard to read. And on the back, they share some some brands that are cruelty-free or don't test on animals. And at the time, I guess it's written, there was only 100 brands worldwide that didn't test on animals, and that's kind of crazy. That's like crazy to think about. Sometimes I guess in some ways I'm glad I live in a time where that's not the case. But yeah, so they included all 100 of those, and then on the bottom here they included some things you should read, some books. I'm not gonna name all the books, but if you guys want to know what the books are and you want to read them, let me know. They talked a lot about how it was kind of hypocritical for feminists to be vegetarians in a way, but I low-key kind of agree with that. I think that believing in one thing and not going all the way can be a little interesting. I don't know. You have to read the zine to really understand what I'm kind of talking about, because I'm not really good at saying it, but yeah. So there's that one. The back is interesting. I can read this. I'm gonna read half of this. It says, animal rights is a feminist issue. In patriarchal society, women and animals are beaten, raped, hated, enslaved as pets, enslaved as wives, sold for money, used for entertainment, cheap labor, sex, experiments. In patriarchal society, women and animals are considered inferior, cute, evil, uncontrollable, emotional, impulsive, instinctive, childish, irrational property objects. Every year in the United States alone, 100 million animals are tortured and killed in laboratories. 5 billion farm animals are forced to suffer and die for human consumption. 13 million animals are mutilated in leg hold traps and die agonizing deaths. 65 to 70 million animals are killed by hunters. Why have women abandoned animals to the crimes of patriarchy? The feminist movement's total neglect of animal rights has done a great disservice to both women and animals. The time has come for women to reject all patriarchal violence. Our lives, as well as the lives of animals, depend on it. So, those are my zines. They're really great. I love them. You should see if your city has a zine archive or library. The only ones that I know of are the Seattle Riot Girl Zine Collective place called. Is that what it is called? And I think there's one in New York too. Not a Riot Girl one, but like a zine thing. And maybe more libraries have them. Definitely look into it, because you could be missing out on some really good reads. And you don't have to pay $50 to buy them on eBay. So, yeah, go ahead and do that. And if you live in Denver, go to Bob Ragland Denver Public Library. Yeah, that branch. Just look it up. They have got literally, just look up Zine Library. You'll find it. The Denver Zine Library. You'll find it, and you will have such a fun time looking. They've got music boxes. Not music boxes. They've got like music folders of zines. They've got feminist zines. They've got political zines. They got comics, so many comics, queer zines, and more. And they've got a typewriter. And there's club every last Saturday of the month. So you could join a club where you guys like do zine stuff. I don't know what they do at the club, but you could join the club. I'm gonna watch YouTube now. Oh wait, actually one more thing. I wasn't gonna show you guys this because it's like this is a magazine. I just wanted to read this to you because I thought it was crazy. I work at a left-wing lesbian-owned bookstore that carries your magazine, and since I consider myself a feminist, I read each new issue with gusto. Is that how you say that? There's always at least one article with which I agree wholeheartedly. And since I'm also a conservative, pro-life Christian, there is always at least one article with which I vehemently, sorry, I'm not good at reading, whatever, disagree. And I like it that way. It keeps me challenged and thinking. I appreciate the thoughtfulness that goes into writing, even though I don't always agree with the opinions expressed. I didn't know pro-life feminists were a thing. Isn't that all about women's choice, guys? I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. I just want to read that. Also, working in a lesbian bookstore? What are you doing? Leftist lesbian bookstore. Crazy. I'm crazy. Okay, anyway guys, bye-bye. Comment, what you think. If the comments are working again, go to my profile and go to the thing where you can, go to the posts tab. But go to that tab and I'll leave a post for you to comment on. Yeah. So bye-bye. Tell me what you want to see next from me.